Director of Public Prosecutions, was not only a close friend of Symons, but also himself a crime novelist who wrote under the name Michael Underwood. The first Underwood novel appeared in 1954, and he became a prolific author of sound, low-key mysteries, often with a legal setting. Symons' presentation of the barrister Magnus Newton owed much to the insight he gained from Evelyn, and he enjoyed writing about Newton so much that he returned to the character in his Edgar-winning novel The Progress of a Crime, and also in The End of Solomon Grundy, and the excellent The Man Whose Dreams Came True. In notes included in his bibliography, compiled by John J. Walsdorf, Symons forgot that Newton appeared in the last of these 4 books, and said that The End of Solomon Grundy marked his final appearance. He was in danger of becoming my abomination, a series character. Symons' lean writing style was always one of his strengths, and The Colour of Murder illustrates his ability to cover a good deal of ground without wasting words. Even fans of forensic detection are catered for, since the trial features discussion of the benzodine test for blood, relevant in the days before DNA profiling. The final section of the book is an epilogue, which delivers, through Newton, an ironic plot twist of which a leading Golden Age novelist such as Berkeley would have been proud. This novel, with its focus on post-war society and sexual desire and repression, is very different from many of the British Library crime classics dating back from the 30s, but it shares some of their virtues. Julian Symons was one of the most influential British crime novelists and critics of the 20th century. Born in 1912, he was the youngest of 7 children, the son of a Jewish immigrant whose real name he never discovered. He left school at 14 and in effect educated himself. He enjoyed writing poetry and founded a magazine called 20th Century Verse, running it single-handedly until the war came. He and a friend, Ruthven Todd, who later wrote a handful of detective stories as R.T. Campbell, planned a jokey murder mystery which Symons wrote up. 6 years later, in 1945, the story was published as The Immaterial Murder Case, but although it appeared as a Green Penguin paperback, Symons later decided it should not be reprinted again. He became equally dissatisfied with his next 2 novels, but with The Narrowing Circle, he felt he'd made a breakthrough in terms of character development and saying something about the form and shape of society. The success of The Colour of Murder and The Progress of a Crime cemented his reputation as a crime novelist, and he also became a highly respected critic. In addition, he was a biographer and historian of distinction. Indeed, the book for which he is best remembered today is Bloody Murder, Mortal Consequences in the US, his splendidly pithy history of the crime genre. Since his death in 1994, his work as a novelist has fallen into regrettable neglect. As a long-term admirer of his work, I cannot help hoping that the British Library's reissue of this novel and The Belting Inheritance will lead to a revival of interest in his fiction. Martin Edwards, www.martinedwardsbooks.com. Note: the benzodine test for blood described in the second half of this book is a real test, and there is some dispute about its value on the lines that I have suggested. No reference to any real murder case is intended, however, and all the characters in the story are imaginary. J.S. Part 1. Before. John Wilkins's statement to Dr. Max Andriadis, consulting psychiatrist. Chapter 1. It all began one day in April when I went round to change a library book. At least, that's the time when it seemed to me to begin, though I know you people trace things a lot farther back, and I'd like to say that I don't believe in all that. Whatever a man does, he's got to take responsibility for his own actions. That's what I believe. I don't see how the world can run any other way. I have to say that, even though I know it may be against me. When I got home from work that evening, May had one of her migraine headaches.